I just finished making this teleprompter video, and as I was editing it, I noticed a lot of things about it that I wasn't completely satisfied with. And I did try to improve some of the things during the editing process, but at a certain point, I just wanted to go ahead and be done with the video. For me personally, at this point in my YouTube journey, the value of even doing the teleprompter video was mostly in that it gave me a reason to make another video and keep getting better. I'm a type A personality, and I have a tendency to be a bit of a perfectionist and to keep working on something and fiddling with it. But I'm trying to get better at letting myself say, okay, this is done, what next? I definitely felt like there was a lot of legitimate improvement and fiddling left to be done on the video, but I also felt like it was time to move on and just accept it for what it turned out to be. But even though I decided I was going to go ahead and be done with this video, I did want to at least document and acknowledge for myself the things I didn't get a chance to improve on in this video. As I've been thinking about what is the next video I'm going to do, it occurred to me that I could actually make a video about this very reaction. To make a video about not being satisfied with your own work. For example, while I was editing, it stood out to me how at the beginning of the video, I spent like a whole minute not even talking about the teleprompter, but talking about my video brainstorming and outlining process. And the thought occurred to me, why did I include that in the video? It's not even about the teleprompter. Yes, it is setting the stage for a problem that I have, and that a teleprompter could potentially help solve, but maybe a viewer wouldn't really need all that context. Maybe I was just doing it as an outlet for myself. Maybe I should have gone from the intro right to talking about the teleprompter without talking about my process, or at least not in that much detail. And so I'm debating in my mind, was that a good choice or not? Or was it really just I had questions in my own mind about my own process and felt the need to verbalize it in that moment while I was recording? And ultimately, I did leave the process segment in the video, but it did make me think about the idea of making a video that really is just about the process of making videos, especially for people new to making them. If I felt the need to talk about my video making process, might as well just go ahead and make a video about it and get it out of my system. Why not, right? At the end of the day, it's just more practice making videos, which is what I want. I don't want to make a video about more gear to buy or editing techniques or how to make algorithm friendly videos or anything like that. There's plenty of great YouTubers already doing that kind of work. I'm talking about the process of going from I don't make YouTube videos to I want to make YouTube videos, but I'm not good at it, so how do I get good at it? What does that journey look like at the beginning? I do see quite a few channels from established content creators about how to get started on your YouTube journey, but I don't see a lot of newbies like me just out there talking about I know I'm bad at this and here's where I'm at. So let's make one of those videos, and maybe it'll resonate with and be helpful for other people who are at the same place that I am. That's my long rambling intro, and I'm sure when I edit this video, I'll be irritated at how long I rambled here too. But anyways, in the teleprompter video, I talked about the process of brainstorming a video idea and doing an outline and a script, and ultimately recording the video itself. The rest of this video is going to be what comes next. Reviewing the recording as part of the editing process. What am I thinking to myself while I'm reviewing and editing a video? I want feedback on my video so I can improve, but I don't have an established subscriber base, so the only ones giving me feedback so far are myself, my wife, and ChatGPT. I'm basically going to be collecting my own feedback through the rest of this video. Before I begin, in keeping with the theme of this video and not being satisfied with your own work, I realized after I recorded this video that the audio was not synced up on the YouTube video and my microphone audio. And this has happened to me a couple times before, and I've got it in my checklist to make sure that that doesn't happen before I start recording, but I goofed on this one, but it's a bad video. I'm just going to leave it in. Hopefully it doesn't distract too much. I recently bought an Elgato teleprompter, and I want to talk about why and what I think about it so far. Now, the why is pretty simple. I want to improve the quality of my videos. Now, over the last year or so, I've made a couple steps in that direction. I bought a better camera for recording videos, I bought a better microphone, and I even bought a key light. And as I've started to use all this gear, I haven't quite figured out a good workflow for making videos, but I have noticed that I've settled into a bit of a pattern. So typically the first thing I like how at the beginning of the video, I said, I want to talk about, got right to the point. And then I answered the question immediately. The why is simple. I want to improve the quality of my videos. That was the entire point of the teleprompter video. A lot of people will talk about having a good hook at the beginning, but I'm trying not to focus on those kind of optimizations yet. I'm really just trying to get my authentic story out the way that it comes naturally. And then I'll refine later as I get better at it. But some things I also noticed, I mentioned all this gear I bought to try to improve the quality of my videos, but the focus of my camera is off. I'm too blurry. This is supposed to be a 4K camera. What happened? And I've noticed this a few times, so I need to find a better way of making sure my camera stays focused on me rather than the background. And I've got this Rode mic, but is my audio even that good? Maybe I still just don't like the sound of my own voice, but I'm not really convinced that my audio is where it needs to be yet. Now, I do have some audio filters set up in OBS, and I spent some time earlier in the year learning some EQ principles, but I honestly don't think I can say any of that is helping all that much. It'd probably be better if I just started speaking closer to the mic. That would probably have the most immediate improvement, but I have my mic on my desk right next to my keyboard, and I'm hoping that I can keep going with that approach. I feel like a lot of people have these nice mics and they have a microphone arm and the mic is like right up in their face, and I don't really want the mic to be in the shot. I don't care about seeing your mic. So I don't really understand what the point of all that is. But here I am complaining that my audio quality is not where it should be, so maybe I should just get with the program and stick the mic all up in my face too. Also, the lighting on my face seems blah. The colors are not interesting, and I'm not particularly interested in painting my office or using a bunch of RGB lights or anything. I do have this painting as my computer background, and I do like the vibe when I'm doing a talking head video like this, but I haven't really done one of those videos with this background as the primary background, so I'm sure I'll try that at some point, but at this point, I just don't really like the vibe of my background, but it is what it is for now. We haven't even gotten into the part of the video about the teleprompter yet, and I can already tell a little bit when my eyes are moving around to read the teleprompter. So that kind of defeats the entire point of having a teleprompter. If 30 seconds in and the viewer might already be thinking, if this is what a teleprompter gets you, kind of seems like I shouldn't even bother wasting my time or watching the rest of this video. And maybe they'd be right. And I'm going to give myself a little bit more time and make a few more videos with the teleprompter, including this one, before I really form an opinion about how helpful it is or is not. But all of this feedback so far is a little funny because I was just talking about how I bought all this gear and the impact of that gear not really showing up in my video. So let's play some more video. I do is I record myself ramble for a bit. Now, if I'm at my desk like I am now, I'm usually recording anyways. So if something comes to mind, it's like a one button press for me to start brainstorming on a topic. And the idea is to make it as frictionless as possible to just get started. But more often, when I go for a walk at night, I'll use the audio recorder app on my phone and just talk to myself out loud while I walk. But either way, the idea is basically to create a brain dump of what I want to talk about in my video. So next, I'll take that recording and transcribe it. And usually I'll ask ChatGPT to summarize it into an outline, and then I'll listen to the recording and refine the outline and add any additional notes if I thought of anything. But at this point, it's mostly just bullet points, and sometimes I'll even ask ChatGPT for feedback on the outline as a whole as well. At this point, I have a pretty good outline of the topic, so I record a first draft video, and while I'm recording, I can refer to the outline as I go. Usually during this process, I get a better idea of exactly what I want to say, how I want to say it, and I'll make more notes. in the outline, and the outline kind of transforms into more of a script. Now, I try not to write down literally every word, but it just depends. Once I'm happy with the script, I start to record the actual video that I intend to publish. And this is okay. So 2 minutes in, and we're finally about to get to the point of the video. All that process talk kind of seems boring. Now, I think it is actually helpful, but I don't think it keeps people's attention. Now, I thought about adding some visuals throughout this section, but the best I could come up with is like a PowerPoint slide approach with like bullet points for the different stages, and I don't know, that just felt lame. I did think the repeated use of my press button clip was clever. And also, my wife mentioned that the first half of the video was a little flat in terms of presentation style. But this part right here, I think this is where I start to kind of get into the meat of the video. This is where I've been getting stuck lately. I've only done a couple of these videos so far, but the idea is to do a lot more. So I'm trying to get better at churning out these kind of videos with a production quality that I'm at least not too ashamed of. Not too ashamed of being the operative phrase. So right here, I'm trying to highlight the fact that making videos usually starts with making bad videos, and you realize they're bad, and you try to figure out how to make them less bad, and repeat, 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 until you don't think they're so bad anymore. And ultimately, I'm trying to encourage people to go ahead and be bad. Let's all just be bad at this together, because it's important to be able to tell your story. And we all have a story, and I want to see more people using their voice on the internet. Now, at this point, I could ramble another 10 minutes about why I want that, but we'll save that for another video. And for example, with my How Was Your 2024 video, making the video felt too awkward. I'd have to look at the outline on my monitor to see what was next, and then I'd record a line or two while looking at the camera, and then I'd forget what was the next line. I usually knew roughly what was next, but I had already decided when I was drafting the script in the first place how I wanted to say it. I just couldn't remember an entire script from beginning to end. So I'd have to look at the outline again, and then record more lines and repeat until I got all the way through the video. And it's a lot of back and forth, reminding myself what was next and doing a lot of takes. And as a result, I felt the video overall was awkward. And ideally, I just wanted to flow as if we're just having a conversation and not me reading off a script or an outline. So again, I'm just trying to show what it looks like to struggle with this process. I said it felt awkward, and I talked about how I forgot my lines. Now, I added some video footage of me struggling because, again, I'm trying to show the struggle and not just talk about it. One approach that some people take is just screw the eye contact with the camera and just read off, your outline on the other monitor. It's not that big a deal. And I don't have a problem with it, but I figured I'd at least try to improve my ability to make eye contact throughout the video, or at least most of it. So that brings me to another issue that I've noticed. If you're eye contacting literally every second of the video, it comes off a little weird too. So the solution, a while back, when I was watching YouTube videos about content creator gear, I remembered learning about the Elgato teleprompter. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, that's actually a thing. But I had other priorities at the time. I didn't really see myself using a teleprompter, so I just moved on. All right, so 4 minutes in, we're finally talking about the teleprompter. Reflecting on the takes that I made, the eye contacting every second part probably wasn't worth talking about. The YouTube history search to show like my evolution. I'm doing research on YouTube about these products. That's pretty much the approach that everybody is going to take when they're debating whether or not to get a teleprompter or any kind of gear. But since then, I have been able to notice when I watch certain YouTubers that they are clearly reading off their notes. In particular, there's a YouTuber I watch who primarily does talking head videos, and he had a decently sized channel, and it was clear he had invested himself in making videos with higher quality production values. And I could tell like he was doing this off-screen reading thing, and I left a comment and I said, hey, I know that this teleprompter thing exists. Maybe you should look at it. A while back, I had also looked into using an icon. So I'm not even sure if the story about me leaving a comment on another content creator is all that helpful. I think the point of it was I remembered that a teleprompter even existed, which means that down the line, I would remember that I could use it too. That was the point I was trying to get across there. Contact filter that you can do with the NVIDIA Broadcast app, but I didn't really like how that worked either. And then when I was also not really sure if that was helpful. I thought about adding a visual to show, the NVIDIA Broadcast app page with their advertisement of the eye contact filter. But maybe it wasn't helpful. I should have just left that out. Working on my end of 2024 video, I was actively frustrated with the process while I was doing it for the reasons I mentioned earlier, having to go back and forth between my script and trying to speak to the camera. And I thought, you know what? Maybe a teleprompter would help me out too. So that part I thought was pretty helpful. Again, just showing the frustration of being new to making videos like this and the thought process that arises when you experience that frustration. And that frustration led me to think maybe I should try a teleprompter. So I said, let's try it, see if it helps. And, not gonna lie, definitely felt a little silly considering the prospect of using a freaking teleprompter. But one of my guiding principles is embracing getting out of your comfort zone. So why not at least try it? And if it sucks, I'll just return it. So I ordered one, and it took, like a week or two to come in. And I wasn't really sure how I was going to integrate a teleprompter into my existing setup. I have two 43-inch monitors on my desk, and my wife said that was pretty funny. And using a tripod in between the monitors to mount my webcam. And initially, I thought I'd try to put the prompter above the monitors, either in the center or off to one side. But I had a feeling that the camera angle wouldn't be ideal. It would look like the camera was like... So I thought this was pretty helpful to demonstrate, exactly the problem that I experienced when I was trying to set it up or trying to figure out where to set it up. Rather than just talk about it, I happened to be recording footage of me trying it out. So I was able to include that. Looking down on me. And I'd been used to having the camera at eye level, and I liked how that was working. So I started thinking maybe I can mount the prompter to some sort of retractable setup. And that way, when I want to use the prompter, I can just pull it down at eye level, do my thing, and then push it back up out of the way when I'm done. So I tried both of those approaches and didn't really like it. So what I've settled on for now is I've mounted the prompter on the same tripod. So I thought this was pretty helpful in showing an unpolished, just raw photograph of my setup as I was experimenting with how to integrate the teleprompter in between my monitors. And also I included the video editing software that I use on screen just to once again show like what does this process actually look like while you're doing it. Tripod I was using for just my webcam. Now it's a little top heavy and wobbly if I bump into it, but it's pretty out of the way, and I don't think it's going to be a problem, except for possibly my cat who likes to jump on my desk and crawl behind the monitors. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I think for the most part it'll be okay. Okay, it was not okay. I definitely ended up replacing the tripod with a more solid stand. And the big reason I did that was not because of my cat, is because I wanted to mount a key light on top of the teleprompter. There's some cold shoe mounts on top, but with the tripod, it was way too wobbly. And so I've replaced that tripod with a full metal stand. And this way the camera is at eye level like I had it before. And I did have to move my monitors apart a little bit to make room for the prompter in the middle. So now there's like a 9-inch gap between my monitors. And I'd been used to being able to look from one monitor to the other with no gap in between. And I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of having a 9-inch gap in between my monitors just to make room for this teleprompter, but it's not the end of the world, and I've adjusted to it pretty quickly, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. One of the additional benefits is that the prompter acts as an additional monitor, and I just keep my Google Meet window open there all day, and sometimes my daily notes or my to-do list. One benefit of moving the monitors apart is I can also now put my tablet or my laptop in that space and have an additional monitor. And a final benefit is even if you're not trying to make talking head videos, but you do video conferencing at work, for example, if you've decided to get yourself a good webcam, a good microphone, or decent lighting to improve the professionalism of your video calls, you might want to consider getting a prompter too. If you've ever noticed during video calls that most of the time you're looking at the video conferencing software on your monitor and not looking at the camera, a teleprompter can help with that too. It'll help you make better eye contact, which will lead to more engaging conversation on your calls. So I've only had the teleprompter for a few days now, but I did use it to make this video, and I think it helped a lot. I got through this video a lot quicker than I have my previous videos, and I'm sure I'll fiddle with my setup over the weeks and months ahead. But for now, I think it was a good purchase, and hopefully there will be more and better videos to come from my channel as a result. So thank you for listening. Let me know what you think. Do you use a teleprompter, or have you thought about using one? If you have, please share any tips or advice on how to make the best use of it. And if you haven't, but have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll try to help out. Take care. So I thought the ending of the video was pretty okay. At the end of the video, when I ask questions and try to get people to comment, I know a lot of people do that at the end of their videos. And the reason that they do that is because they want to get more engagement. That's not really what I was going for there. I mostly just wanted to actually have a conversation with people. So I'm going to have to play around with my approach to those kind of end of video questions. But overall, I think the video turned out okay. Definitely not super happy with it, but we're going to keep this thing moving. Take care.